Good morning. I'm Mark Cotter. I'm the Director of Public Works. I want to welcome you today to give you a news briefing on the snow removal and ice operations that are currently underway after this fairly long protracted snow event that brought 2 waves of snow and just about 11 inches of new snow to our area. Also joined with our partners with fire and police and communications teams that have been working around the clock to make sure that we can meet the residents and the community's needs and keep people's days moving. The National Weather Service shared this morning that they've reported just under 11 inches of new snow, with 2 waves of snow that's come through. We just really want to thank people for their patience as we had to stay on the emergency snow routes to make sure we can address the first wave of snowfall. And there was just a short lull yesterday afternoon, and then more snow came throughout the night. So we were able to focus on those emergency snow routes. So once you got to those emergency snow routes, you had good, safe travel. And then ultimately, once the snow stopped this morning, we've been able to go into all 20 snow districts with snow removal crews, and we'll be working those 20 snow districts on 12-hour shifts until we're done. This one's going to take some time because there's a lot of snow out there. So just be patient, and also we've got a lot of good resources for residents. Make sure you go to the website, siouxfalls.gov/snow. There's a lot of resources out there, and even with the snow tracker, you can start to see as that gets refreshed about every hour. As streets turn from red to blue, that's a good sign. That means that street's been plowed and should be restored to normal travel. Yesterday, just to give some perspective, we declared the snow alert mid-afternoon yesterday, and the reason we did it in the mid-afternoon was we knew that there was, with that lull that came in yesterday morning, and the second wave was going to start about 11. We really wanted to know the duration and the pace of that second event before we issued it, so we could provide a good detail on what the plowing schedule will be. That second wave even lasted longer than originally forecasted, so I'm glad that we issued it a bit later. The intent was to get into Zone 3 after midnight. It ended up being early morning just because of the snow continued to come down. We needed to stay on those emergency snow routes. But we are currently in Zone 3. We're also in the core on the north-south streets. And again, track the progress on the snow tracker site. That's just a really good tool for you. Just again to reiterate what Zone 3 is, it's essentially the area north of Russell Street, it's the area south of 33rd Street, it's the area east of Cliff Avenue, and it's the area west of Kiwanis Avenue. So that's at Zone 3. It's the majority of the city, and then the core, just with the density in the core, that's why we have a specific plowing schedule for the core that you can always find. To give some perspective on stats, we have about 100 operators that are in motor graders and sanders and loaders that are changing out on 12-hour shifts. There's also a full complement of fleet mechanics that are keeping the machines running through this process until we can get done. And then ultimately, once we get the streets all plowed curb to curb, we'll transition into picking up snow first in the downtown. We want to get into the downtown right now. Just after midnight on Wednesday night, so early Thursday morning, you'll see a lot of activity with multiple pickup crews in the downtown. There's an impressive amount of snow in the downtown as you drive through, and so we want to make sure that we can get that picked up as well. Just a couple of comments about snow gates. We've ran snow gates in Sioux Falls for a long time now, and they are most effective in that 5 to 6 inch of snowfall and below. Being close to a foot of snow, you're going to see their effectiveness drop significantly. And so we're fortunate that this is a little lighter and drier snow, but just know that Snow gates reduce the amount of snow that goes into your driveway. They don't eliminate it, and especially when we get this amount of volume of snow, we're going to see more snow at the end of those driveways. Our first priority is to get that road open for you, so you can kind of restore your daily commutes. Make sure, just do everything that a resident needs to do with clearing their sidewalks, clearing the space to their mailbox. Don't blow excess snow into the streets. Make sure you blow that into your own property, into your yards. And just as we started off, there's a lot of resources available for residents to check, and that's all on the website, siouxfalls.gov/snow, and you'll see a lot of resources there. I'm going to hand it over right now to Sam Clemens with the PD, and he'll take you through their operations. Thank you.
Hi, Sam Clemens, Police Department. One of the main things I want to talk about, since plowing has begun, that also means ticketing and towing cars has begun. This is something that we go through every year. People get a little maybe upset when their cars get ticketed or towed, but there's a reason for that. We need to have cars off the streets so the streets can get plowed. That really ensures safe travel, but then also so fire and police and ambulance can get to where they need to go without any issues. Ticketing, it's not a fun thing. It's pretty easy to do. Try to park off the street until it's been plowed. If your car's plowed, or if it hasn't been if it's left on the street, you're subject to ticketing and towing. Essentially what that means, you can get a $35 ticket, and then fees go up if it's not paid within a certain time. This isn't anything new. I think most people realize we do this. It's something that people get a little upset about, especially if their car gets towed, but the easy fix is just don't park on the street until it's been plowed. The zones, I think Mark talked about that stuff, so Zone 3 is probably where we get the bulk of that, and each snow event is different for the number of tickets that we write, but I mean, we're talking hundreds of tickets, so this isn't anything little. It's a big thing. If your car gets towed, you're looking at a minimum of $191. Fees can go up from there, so it's not a cheap, inexpensive thing. It's something that's going to affect you. Enough about ticketing and towing. The other thing is just travel. In town, conditions are what they are. People maybe get a little lulled into confidence about how it is. Make sure if you're traveling outside of Sioux Falls that you're checking road conditions, weather conditions. If the wind picks up and starts blowing the snow around, it can create blizzard-like effects that you're not seeing in town, but it could be outside of town. So it's pretty common sense. Slow down, take your time. If you're going outside of Sioux Falls, make sure you have a emergency kit with you, a fully charged cell phone. You have the route planned ahead so people know when you're leaving, where you're expected to go, and obviously if you get stuck or have some issues, then call for help. I think that's all I have, so I'll turn it over to Fire Rescue.
Thanks, Sam. Steve Fessler, Division Chief with Sioux Falls Fire Rescue. First off, I want to just get into a few of the numbers for calls for service that Fire Rescue had and PCMS, our local ambulance service, had. Overall, it sounds like there was only roughly 45 accidents during the event, which is really a good number to say. I guess we never want to see an accident, but that is a fairly low number. Fire Rescue responded to around 46 calls for service, and PCMS had around 83 calls for service. In addition, Sioux Falls Fire Rescue operated 3 snow plows to assist with making sure that we could get the ambulance service into the calls that they were called to out in the outlying areas where there was any kind of drifting snow or tough streets to get through. So we worked along with Public Works on that and had a snow plow, or 3 different snow plows that we were out and about with. The city responds to most of these snow events, or to all snow events, in a one-team effort. And with that, we like to remind you that emergencies don't stop or end during a snow event. They continue on, and we continue to need the public support on the cleanup. A couple of the big things for fire rescue, PD, PCMS is being able to get down those streets safely. So as Mark Cotter and Sam Clemens had both said, moving your cars off the streets so that they can get plowed to make sure that the streets are open and wide enough for us to get our apparatus down there. Really helps us out immensely. Another area would be your fire hydrants. Like to reiterate this consistently, get a 3-foot section around your fire hydrants. Clear that out. You never know when that emergency is going to come in your neighborhood. The more that's cleared out and available to us, the life-saving time it is. So we appreciate that. Like I said, it all saves valuable time for us. So with that, we'll take any questions that you have at this time.
Yeah, so the focus on snow removal operations to start will be in the downtown because there's just no place to store snow on a typical downtown street between building face to building face. So that's where we'll go into first. And then also on the major streets like Minnesota Avenue where the sidewalk is connected to the back of the curb, just to open up the roads. We'll be plowing those roads as you've seen us in the last day and a half. And we put snow on those sidewalks. So the next step will be to reach over and pull that snow to the center of the road and essentially pick it up. And then there'll be situations selectively throughout the city where that same situation exists, or it may just have a narrowing situation that we need to address. So it'll be in a bit of a tiered approach. We're fortunate that this is really the first major snow event of the year. And so we've got basically that entire boulevard didn't have snow. So with the amount of snow that we've got a lot of snow to place in the boulevards. But we're fortunate that this is really the first go around. But we'll be at this for, especially with the pickup process for several days ahead. So hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, so there's a number of factors, and we're fortunate that we have the partners at the National Weather Service right here in Sioux Falls, and also the SDSU Mesonet sites. So we're constantly looking at those tools. And the one thing when there's a bit of a lull yesterday, there was a lull for about probably 4 hours. We took that time to really polish up and get the emergency snow routes in good shape. And then when the next wave came, really toward evening commute, we had the full complement out there, even our private contractors. But we do use a lot of that data to really gauge when do we issue that, because we want to be able to give a really good prediction of what the plowing schedule is going to be once. I've got to ask the question, why didn't we go into the neighborhoods for just a few hours and then pull out? And especially this, we got over 3 inches of new snow after with the second wave, and so it would have caused those neighborhood streets to be plowed twice, and it would have only been a fraction of the streets. So that's why we stayed on the emergency snow routes. We always want to give our residents and commuters, one plowing schedule, so it's very predictable. Yes. So in the last year, when the boulevard gets full of snow, essentially, and then it starts to crust over, when we're moving snow to the boulevard, it's really got nowhere to go. This is a lot of snow, we're seeing it sort of boil over the moldboards, but we are trying to get it pushed over as far as possible. And that storage in that boulevard right now is really good. You're going to see this event take us probably in the order of 32 to 40 hours to get through from the time we entered the neighborhoods this morning until we're fully plowed curb to curb. And then ultimately you'll see us on the streets working with our teams and our private contractors to do a lot of pickup throughout the course of the rest of the week. Any other questions? Well, thank you very much for coming, and be patient and drive safe.